Hey everybody, Scott with RMB here. Just wanted to send out the video about separating a whole chicken that I promised on the Facebook page today. Now, you can see that I have already started ripping this guy apart here. What you need to really do is you need to get these innards out of the chicken first of all. And by the way, this entire surface was sterilized before we started doing anything at all. Get in there. Start pulling it all out. I recommend you have a tray of some kind ready to go to get all this stuff on, so you're not fumbling with it during the fact. Really make sure that you get all this stuff out of here. Looks like we just got ice in here still, so we'll pull that out. Alright, so let's get these wings off. So we'll flip the bird over. If you notice, right here up at the top, if you kind of move the wing, you can feel where the joint ends. You want to grab a hold of it, get a really good hold on it, and just give it steady pressure in one direction. What that's doing is that's separating that bone from the rest of the carcass so that we can get our knife in there and get it out. So the chicken's kind of got a little bit of an armpit right here. We want to get our knife in there. Nice clean cut. And you can see right here where that bone separated from the rest of the body. This is what you're looking for, that round white bone. That's what's separating. Alright. You see, we didn't have to sit there and cut through any bones and ruin the edge on our knife. So there's one wing. We'll flip it over. We'll do the same thing. Again, we're going to grab a hold of it, get a really good hold on the joint, and we're going to give it steady pressure until we kind of feel it give. And there it goes. Feel the chicken's pit. Get that knife in there. Pull that out. Okay. Over here to the other side. There's that round bone again. Looks like we got it this time. That's alright. And wing number 2. Now normally, you can see how much gets wasted when this goes to people. This would get cut off, this would get cut off, and that's all that people would eat. Luckily, we got our pets. Alright, let's move on to the legs. This is going to be pretty much the same thing. What we need to do is we need to give a separation of these bones from the rest of the carcass. Or at least give us enough room to get our knife in there so we're not trying to have to cut bone. So what we want to do is we want to kind of feel up the drumstick, follow the knee and the thigh to where it connects. And you'll be able to feel it. There's kind of a little lump. Put your thumb there, hands on the other side, grabbing the side of that drumstick, and just push. And there you go. Did you hear it give? Now we got a little bit of a divot here as well. That's going to give us a starter point for our knife. You can see that that guy went clean through and didn't hit a single bone. That's exactly what we want. Give that a cut. Same thing down the other side. You can hear that this guy's still kind of frozen. He's been out all day, but there's number 1. Same thing. We want to get a nice steady grip on the other side. We want to push our thumb at the end of that joint until we feel it give. Get our knife in the pit, so to speak. Shove it through. And by the way, this knife that I'm using here, this is a Mora. This is called the Mora Companion. And they are very inexpensive, very effective, very sharp knives. This particular knife here was about $14. Sorry if you can hear my dog in the background. He knows Dad's cutting up chicken. But again, I recommend you get a good knife like this. They're inexpensive. They work well, and you're not going to have to break the bank for it. Well, let's get that over. Alright. If you have to put too much pressure on your knife's not sharp enough. Figure out how to sharpen it. You can ask me for some video links. There's stuff all over YouTube. Don't try and cut up a carcass with a dull knife. So there's number 2. Now, you can see here if we pull some of this skin back, that we still have kind of a neck attached here. But I'm going to give this whole thing to my dogs today, but I'm going to separate these for you so that you could see how to separate them away clean with if you wanted to keep them for yourself. Now, over here on the other side that we were talking about before, I bring this up because if I really wanted to, I could separate this neck from the back. But because it's just going to go to the dogs, I don't have to. But just for sake, I'll go ahead and show you. Just like everything else, there's going to be some kind of natural, not necessarily a seam, but some kind of divot where you can tell where one piece of the carcass starts and one ends. What I'm going to do is take my knife and that little divot that I fill here, I'm just going to go down. Same thing on the other side. Down, drop it. Always being conscious of where we have our fingers placed when we're dealing with sharp knives. You can almost just pull it out from there. Alright, now we have that whole neck. This would be great if you are a person that has a very small dog, puppies, that kind of thing. Alright, so now we have a totally empty back here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and find, you can see these ribs here, these rib bones, right inside of this white area. We want to kind of cut it right there in between this first bone and this one here. We want to go straight down, and you kind of want to follow the seam, the normal shape of a breast that you're used to seeing at the grocery store. So again, we're going to find that right here. It's the first one. So we want to make our cut here and our cut here. Okay, second cut. You can feel that kind of give. Now, if you really just wanted to be Mr. Caveman about it, you could just grab this, pull it down, and separate it. But that's not our style. So let's save as much of this as we can. Right here's the fat line. It's a perfect place to get rid of it. And we'll do the same thing. We got a little bit of the breast here. That's fine. We can fix that. Come down. Alright. And at this point, since this has already started to separate so well for me, you can tell that there's nothing but really connective tissue here. I'm going to cut that off. Right. So we can see that back meat. This again is really good. A lot of people that are breeders of raw pets, they will give this to a group or a fullback to a group of puppies when they're starting to learn how to use their mouths, how to use their teeth, how to consume the meat. Okay, give that a pull. Same thing here along the fat line. Make sure that's separating out for us nicely. Okay. See, this isn't that hard, guys. It's going to take some time. Just got to be careful with it. I'm usually not this delicate. I do tend to just kind of caveman it apart, but just for demonstration's sake, I'm trying to do it right here for you. So at this point, I always, no matter what, just grab it, pull it back, and you have almost total separation. Perfect. Alright. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and trim this fat off so we can see better what we're doing. You want to just kind of, whenever you're trying to remove skin or fat, you want to kind of pull that tight. Just give it a little bit of a pull. That's where having that sharp knife comes in, so you just have to let it go through. No real pressure. Okay. Same thing here. We're going to pull it tight. Oh, it's coming out for us right there anyways. Okay. Go ahead and turn that around. You can see how that's kind of filmy. It's similar to what we were seeing in the beef trimming video. You want to give that a pull. You can hear it somewhat separate. Perfect. Alright. So at this point, we're going to separate this guy right down the middle. Again, this is where a nice, strong, sharp knife comes into play. Put it right here on the top. Make sure, again, we don't have any fingers in our way. Always conscious of where they are. We're going to give a nice steady push. we're going to go through that bone, that breastbone. Take our knife again, put it straight down, clamp on down. At this point you can see the breast is beginning to separate. You can see the tenderloin coming away from the rest of the breast. Or the loin, excuse me. Okay. Over. Grab. Nice push. Perfect. Alright, so we still have some of this rib meat in here. Again, this is all going to the dogs tonight, but for demonstration I'll go ahead and show you on at least one of these how to separate it. Now what I like to do, you can see the bone here, so you've got the breast like it was sitting here. On the inside, the center of the chest would have been, we have this hard area. And on the other side, you see where the ribs were. And there's that white area that we saw earlier that we've cut in half. You want to get your knife, give it just a little bit of a push there. Again, where the sharp knife comes into place, so you don't have to use a lot of pressure and you're not dangerous. You can see that separating there. I want to make sure that I follow this hard line going all the way down. Grab with your fingers, kind of pull apart, give it another slight push, applying it with our fingers. And down here it tends to get kind of curvy, so you want to be really careful about what you're doing then. Okay. Now what we want to do is find, there's a bone right here that comes off. It's really not that big, it's easy to miss, but if you grab right inside, you can feel this teeny tiny little bone. You can just put your fingers in there, get that hole made. You can cut it out as well. There we go. Okay. Now that we've got this area removed here, we need to separate that other hard piece on the other side. What I like to do is, now that I've removed this here, just kind of stick my knife in here, get it flat, and watch it move underneath the skin and come right out, so I'm just barely getting it, so I'm not losing any meat. Just barely gliding along. Do the same thing all the way down. And because chicken is so easy to take apart, at this point you can basically grab this piece, put your knife in here, and just kind of coax it out. You don't even necessarily need to do any cutting. It's just going to come out for you at this point. Alright, make sure we've got a nice clean separation. And here's another piece that if you're buying breasts for yourself, just breasts, you can take this piece off and supplement it into your dog's diet. Or your cat's, ferret, etc. And you can see we got some spots here. It's all fine. You can take this off if you wanted to. Got the separation of the loin again. Breast meat, loin. Now, without doing any talking, I'm just going to go through and do this other breast so that you can see how fast you can do it if you're just trying to get it done and you're not worrying. That bone we were trying to get out last time. Okay. Wasn't anywhere near as much on that guy, but you get the gist. Go ahead and trim that fat off again if you were making this for you. And there you go, everybody. Didn't take that much time. We are 15 minutes in. There's been a lot of talking, a lot of explanation. So you can get this done in an extremely reasonable amount of time. Let's go ahead and get our stuff bunched up together. Breast and breasts. Bone, breast bone. Here's our back pieces, and here's our inside trimmings and our neck. There you go, everybody. That's a whole chicken from one solid piece into several divided pieces. If you had small dogs, you could separate this out and feed it across the day, or if you're my dogs and you're getting spoiled a day, you can feed it all. Alright, everybody, if you have any questions, go ahead and comment on this thread that I put up, comment on the video post on Facebook. I'll be putting it on the YouTube channel as well. Maybe something up on Flickr, a couple of snapshots. But thanks for tuning in, and make sure to share the app, the group, everything. Thanks, everybody.